Today I'm sitting down with someone who completely breaks the mold of what most people expect from a yoga studio owner. Ali is a healthcare technology executive and the owner of Summit Soul Wellness in Colorado. She didn't walk away from her career, she expanded her life. She found yoga during a period of anxiety, traveled to India to study it deeply, and eventually stepped into studio ownership with a business mindset most studio owners don't start with. When she purchased an existing studio in 2023, she rebranded it within 3 months, aligned her team around new core values, strengthened operations, and built a profitable yoga studio by leading it the same way she leads her executive role, with clarity, structure, and intention. In today's episode, we talk about what it really looks like to run a studio like a real business, team leadership, programming, evolution, KPIs, rebranding, customer experience, and using technology platforms to create systems that scale. Ali brings the rare mix of executive discipline and heart-centered yoga philosophy, and she's proof that you can have multiple income streams and still run a thriving studio. Let's dive in. Hey champs, I am super excited to meet somebody I barely know anything about, which is kind of my favorite type of podcast episode to do. And it's something that I'm going to be dialing more back into. And so I'm really excited to have Ali Lewis from Summit Soul Wellness here. Welcome, Ali.
Thank you so much, Michael. I'm really excited to be here.
I'm going to give you a choice. This is something I've been doing recently. You have a choice to introduce yourself and tell you your story, or I have a AI researched version that you could decide to correct or
let's go to AI.
You want to hear? Right?
I'm all into AI right now. So let's do it.
All right. Let's see how accurate this is.
Mm-hmm. This is going to be fun.
Summit Soul Wellness is a yoga and wellness studio based in Dillon, Colorado, serving Summit County and nearby mountain towns near Breckenridge, Frisco, Silverthorne. How are we doing so far?
Nailed it.
Okay. Their offerings include a wide variety of classes, yoga, vinyasa style, align and flow, restorative, yin, etc., mat Pilates, sound healing, breathwork meditation, and seasonal outdoor yoga. And I have a beautiful photograph of outdoor yoga with mountains and lake in the background.
Dreamiest.
Especially leveraging the beautiful mountain and lake settings. There we go. Their mission to bring alignment-based yoga and peaceful philosophies to everyone who walks through their doors, underpinned by core values, peace, community, mindfulness. The studio emphasizes being welcoming and accessible. Classes are available for all levels, from beginners to advanced, and the environment is meant to feel like a retreat from fast-paced mountain life.
That is a really great AI summary.
Oh, do you want it for your website?
It probably pulled from my website. We recently did
actually. It did actually.
A wonderful
it does
SEO.
have, yeah.
We did a wonderful SEO revamp lately, and I'm like, this couldn't be better timing.
Listen to that, folks. She invested in search optimization. We'll get to that.
We did.
Do you want to hear about yourself?
Oh, yeah. Let's get to the good stuff.
About the owner, Ali. The owner, named Ali, acquired a long-standing yoga studio in May 2023. And then in September 2023, she rebranded to Summit Soul. Ali moved to Summit County in 2019. Before that, she lived abroad in Dubai and traveled, describing herself as being a world nomad. Her yoga journey started in 2015 on a retreat in India, Goa, doing a personal struggle with anxiety. She completed her yoga teacher training in Rishikesh, India in 2018 with a focus on yoga for anxiety and healing breathwork meditation movement. She credits yoga and the mountains and nature for helping her find healing, inner peace, and a sense of home. part of what she wants to bring into Summit Soul is that same opportunity. I see you smiling, for others to heal and reconnect. Outside of the studio, she lives with her partner and their dog in Dillon. She enjoys snowboarding, paddleboarding, traveling, and mountain lifestyle. This journey from anxious retreat seeker to owner of a purpose-driven yoga studio gives her personal, heartfelt story of transformation.
Wow.
Hi,
Yeah.
Ali.
Hi, that's me. Yeah, that's me. We're podcast over.
Oh, that's a pretty good summary.
That is. Yeah. There's a few things I would maybe add to it that
Yeah, please do.
maybe weren't mentioned there.
Yeah.
Our studio setting, Summit Soul in the mountains of Colorado, it really is a dreamy retreat destination location. But the things weren't mentioned is what makes it so amazing is our community, the people, the members, the people who come, and the team. I mean, my team is top notch, and we wouldn't be where we are and thriving. So have to make that shout out. I have truly the most amazing team. And it's something that we invest a lot in making sure that, we're a collective group.
So tell me, I'd love to know what took you from teacher to studio owner.
Yeah.
How did that?
Many people listening might relate to this. When I did my yoga teacher training, well, first, I was burnt out. I have been working in the healthcare technology space for many years. I still do. And I am an executive director. And therefore, I'm working on projects that are very fast paced, very high pressure, very large. So in 2018, I was experiencing burnout. I was experiencing a lot of anxiety. And I did my yoga teacher training because I wanted to learn. I wanted to be immersed.
Yeah, me too.
And I probably said the words, I don't know if I'll ever actually teach.
Me too. I think that's a lot of, I think that's a person. It's like, I just wanted deeper knowledge.
Yeah. And I accomplished that. But here I am now. I love teaching. I've been an early childhood education teacher. So some of that just teaching kind of comes naturally in my personality. And really, I have just been very focused on business. So I have really grown in my career as an executive leader in the health tech space. And I really came at this from a business perspective. I started to step into entrepreneurship. And the funny thing is I had a business coach. And I was saying, I really want to start my own business. He said, okay, well, what is it? I was like, that's the problem. I don't know. And so he gave me a business template and he said, write about something you know. And so when I had a bit of a writer's block, I was like, well, I love yoga. I was teaching, I was involved. And so I just started writing a business plan for a yoga studio. And it just flowed, no pun intended.
So like just envisioning it,
Yeah, and everything, like just the structure, the team, the organization, the finances, all of that. I mean, I was just writing and writing and writing. And I took it back to him and he said, well, this is your business. And Michael, not but a month later, the opportunity to acquire and purchase an amazing yoga studio came to me. And I said, well, this is it. This is just it. So I didn't actually know that I was going to go down the path of yoga and wellness studio owner. But it was something that it felt very right. It just was flowing to me. But I think I wouldn't have known that if I didn't take the time to actually write the business plan.
Yeah.
And that's something I really recommend to anyone who's considering yoga, wellness, fitness, health, business ownership is really look at it from the business perspective and start mapping out a business plan. Get someone to help you if that's not something you're used to, because that was the game changer for me.
I'm curious I'm always curious about this, the origins, if there was an ease to the process and if the doors just opened as meant to be along the way. I'm always curious about that because a lot of the great studios, mine included, that was the way. It was just, so I'm just curious if it was a struggle or if that was flow.
I feel there's a caveat, maybe an asterisk. So yes, hands down, this all really was a universal shift in the right direction. The caveat is it was still really hard. It's a lot of work. It was a lot of late nights. It was a lot of
The
moments.
opening or the
Um,
or post?
the the decision and the opening, yeah. The
Uh,
decision of, am I going to do this and getting everything open and making, for me, I was still working, I still work, and it's a very, like I said, high pressure, high demanding job. So I didn't have just time to spend during the day on getting everything ready and set up. It happened very quickly. So when everything felt really natural and very doors were opening and it was the universe there saying this is right, it was still a lot of work. And I definitely had moments where I was questioning myself and questioning if I was ready for this. And that's where some of those tools and templates where, I was looking, I was like, yeah, I am. Like I have the numbers, I have the plan. I I'm ready for this.
so tell me about you had the numbers like in the plan, like you went through the whole process of pricing and projections, and so you we had a little pre-chat, but there's usually two doorways into studio ownership. It's usually opening as business, or it is a passionate teacher doesn't know about business and then quickly goes, "Oh shit, I got to pay the rent. I got bills to pay," and it's like, and then very quickly have to learn to be a business person. Um, so I think you're coming into this with a business. Did you know at this point that you were going to um, buy a studio or open your own space? Were you, tell me about that kind of area.
Yeah, yeah. When I first was writing my business plan, it was, opening a brick and mortar new studio. And that's where the doors opened when the opportunity came to buy and acquire one, with just so much of for me, the foundation and really good, strong values already set. For me, that was a great route. That doesn't mean that that's the route for everyone.
Yeah.
But it's something that I actually correct people on when people reference Summit Soul as my passion project
Yeah.
or my side business, because
Yeah.
that's actually what I'm here to encourage and inspire others on. Is this is a business. This
Yeah.
is a revenue generator. This is my life. This has to be profitable. My structure is for profit. There are
Yeah.
really great nonprofit structures,
Yeah.
but those are still generating revenue because this is your life. I looked very carefully at how a studio and memberships and numbers and key performance indicators need to be in place and scale for this to support my lifestyle. I love to
Yeah.
travel. I love to snowboard. And so I really evaluated all those different pieces and look at this from a very business perspective.
Can I just a side note, I'm kind of curious, and I think this is helpful to some studio owners that may have, I know quite a few studio owners actually that have, say, a full-time job 3 days a week, and then they've got, 2 days to work on the business, and then other life things like kids and things like that. You're doing a lot, like you're fitting a
Yeah.
lot into your life. Can you just give a side note on how you keep that kind of, I feel like you think of things as projects maybe.
Yes,
Yeah.
I do.
And so
Yes.
you're managing a project for each thing, but your
Mhm.
personal time and
Yeah.
well-being in there.
Yes, absolutely. I love this question because I often say, I'm an entrepreneur. I have many different revenue streams, different jobs, and one of those is my life. That's,
Mm,
you know, I can't forget that that's the whole point, is to live and to
yeah.
thrive. And so the way I approach it is through a very structured and well organized processes. It's a lot of team collaboration. How are things running smoothly in a rinse and repeat format on the day to
Yeah.
day? And
Yeah.
that's where my team is key. I would not
Yeah.
be able to do this if I didn't have an
Yeah.
amazing team
Yeah.
surrounding me. And so I structure the support of the studio and the business with really great support team. But then we have processes and tools and
Yeah.
documents
Yeah.
that we work through, not only for communication, but project plans, project work streams. And all of those come into key metrics, KPIs, key
Yeah.
performance
Key
indicators.
performance indicators, folks.
Mm-hmm. That we track on a monthly, quarterly, and yearly basis. And really, everything we do is kind of adjusting where those are a little off or where we have opportunity to see those metrics and performance improve. And some of those are very tactical, and some of them are more focused on, the goals of our members and our member and community interaction and the purpose of yoga, of healing and peace, and why, the people who are coming through our doors.
Yeah.
So some of them are more qualitative than quantitative, but both are important.
But your time in there. So what I'm hearing is that you have a team in place, or we'll get to the team structure, but you have a team in place that supports you to have this life that also gives you some freedom. The structure gives, I talk about this a lot, but structure gives the freedom.
Yeah.
And the team
but
is
the
part of that structure.
Yeah, the structure takes time to set up. And
yeah, let's go back though. All right, so I don't want to get too far off on that one, but so how did I want to know? Still want to know how you got the studio, the soul
to Summit Soul. Yeah. So once I had my business plan in place and I felt really ready, the studio that I had been teaching at was going through a transition, and the opportunity to become owner of that studio came to me. And that's when that door was open, in the sense of I might have had some doubts, but it was like, there's no question. I just wrote a business plan for a yoga studio. And now this opportunity that is an incredible space to begin with. I already know some of the people.
Yeah.
And everything there just felt right. And so that's when, then I went through a rebrand, which now branding, marketing, I had an amazing marketing advisor and consultant.
Yep.
And so now, anyone tells me if they're going through branding or marketing or web design, I get excited because I really learned the value of a brand. And that's what we've created in Summit Soul. Summit is the county that we live in, the mountains. It brings the mountains into our name. And then soul, Spanish for sun. I have a lot of sun energy. I bring a lot of, brightness and light and vitality through my yoga classes, my yoga teaching. It describes my style a lot. So to me, it was a little bit of that's part of the brand, and me wanting to really bring how yoga has changed my life into the life of the people in our community. So I embarked on going through a sale, which has differences than opening a studio from the ground up.
It's a very because there's either systems or not systems in place. And there's also team either in alignment of the new owner or not in the. So I've seen it from all fronts. I'm really curious about that part of taking on an existing thing and then putting your stamp on it and making it your own where it's meaningful to you. So I'd love to know about that little transition.
Yeah. And that's where, I was lucky in many, many ways, but also, I didn't do a full build out or construction, which is a whole, that was part of my original business plan, was needing to get funding and a loan for a pretty significant build out. right?
Yep.
So I was able to walk into an incredibly beautiful studio that had the most amazing values and foundation. And I was then able, the rebrand was really important, really for me.
Did you do it quickly or?
Yeah, I
Oh,
did
so
within
it was
about
like a
three
Band-Aid. It
months.
was like, okay.
Within about 3 months.
Yeah.
And I think it was really that, like, that was my like momentum
Yeah.
of putting myself as owner and
Yeah.
establishing myself as the leader of the team kind of went with the brand momentum.
Yeah. Um, my last podcast episode is one of my clients, Fanny. It took us a year until she had the confidence to um, start putting her stamp on it. It really was a long transition time with the team, especially.
I can understand that.
Yeah.
There were moments, especially doing it fast, where,
Who's she? What's she doing?
yeah, or like, one day I was walking in and I look up and I was like, we need a new sign.
Yeah, yeah.
How have I not ordered a new sign yet? That should have been number one. But actually, there's way more, as far as registering and thinking about your collateral and your communication that really came first for me. And, just things like that pop up. I'm like, oh, and then, that those signs are pretty expensive. So you got to consider that if you're going to
Yeah.
rebrand.
How is it the approach inheriting a team?
Yeah. Again, the team that I had was amazing and continues to thrive and be amazing. So it's something that we've just been able to build upon. And there are different approaches to being a yoga studio owner. And my approach with having multiple different businesses and revenue streams is that I teach 1 or 2 classes a week. Whereas
Yeah.
I think that may differ from other business owners that, might teach many more than that.
Are they the
So
ones that fill your cup?
the ones that I teach,
Yeah.
oh yeah.
Yeah. It's
Yeah, they
because
are.
I condensed my teaching from way too many at first and then to maybe about 4 or so that were the ones that were my
Yeah.
jam, my people.
Yeah. Oh, but this is a natural thing for me of then I always think I want to teach more because I love it. They'd fill my cup so much.
Yeah.
And so then I start putting myself out there to do, all these different things. But then I realize what I love and what I know I'm good at is the business side of it.
Yeah.
And that doesn't mean that if someone is more passionate about the teaching side of it, that's wonderful. Follow that, but find where you need those partners.
Yeah.
I need the partners of the people who are teaching, and that is their focus, and they prioritize our classes and they prioritize our schedule. And so that's what I really started building our team around was I'm running this as the business. I think of
Yeah.
this as the business. I share these KPIs with my team. And it feels a little overwhelming at first because I put them in, spreadsheets and formats and graphs. The way that I do that in my, executive director role. And we're looking at class utilization, intro offer conversions,
Yeah.
member retention and growth rates. And we see gaps, but we address them. But I
Yeah.
always tell everyone that there's data and then there's a story or a narrative to the data.
Yeah.
And I complement my business side with the type of team and the type of teachers and the type of support.
You're only as good as them.
Yes.
End of.
Surround yourself by people better than you, and you will
Yeah.
always thrive.
Quite often, so I'm a big believer in providing my clients with an onboarding document that has, mission, vision, values, expectations, sign on the line. It's not a legal document, but it's an agreement between us. And so taking on a team with new style and expectations and what have you, I always feel like there's kind of an onboarding for new teachers is a little easier. But then I feel like it's like a re-onboarding. Let's get together and go over. Can you tell me about that process?
Yeah. And I had someone tell me that a teacher of mine. She's a mentor of mine. She actually was mentoring me before I even started teaching my own classes. She had been through some other studio transitions and gave me the compliment that this was the smoothest studio transition that she could imagine. And that was the biggest compliment to me and to the foundation of the studio when I took it over. And so we approached it in a way of documentation, onboarding document. We created 6 core values for the studio, and we talked through those core values. Then we talked through processes, from entering, timing, what matters the most, what we offer, what are our differentiators. We're a really mountain destination recovery for, busy, active lifestyle. That's really our brand. And we discussed that together. But then the other key piece is that the teachers are trained and they bring a unique style. So from there, I say, you bring you. You do best when you're teaching from the heart. So I'm not here to tell you really much about how to teach your class. We agree on the type of class and we agree on the description.
Do you have a structure to the class? I'm curious, like, are your classes, is there a level of a similar experience? Not, I always said, I'm not going to tell you what to teach, but this class includes these elements. Like, is that something that are you looser with that?
A description base. We share what we share is the description, but we really don't put much more structure to it than that.
Okay.
It's not necessarily that there's only one class we have that I actually said, this is the one class that I have a true structure for. And that one class, it is a 45-minute class.
Yeah.
And that's why it's 5-minute opening, Sun A, Sun B, teacher variation, Shavasana.
Yeah.
Other than that, it really is, I really leave it up to the teachers and they get to explore where they're at, what they're learning, how they're, still improving their trainings. And I think that's what makes it also a great collaborative effort across the team.
What was the biggest surprise when you took over an existing studio?
The biggest surprise, the thing that really resonated with me the most, that has brought me to tears of joy, is the support. The members, the way that they showed up and would, ask what we needed.
So they were happy that you saved their studio.
Yeah, it's a home to people, right?
Yeah.
And so there were, when there were things that maybe seemed a little off or we hadn't maybe put a process around, there were people championing around, from, people dropping in and visiting from out of town to longtime members to the team that were stepping in and just taking ownership. And I think as a business owner, you think you're going to go in so alone. And all of a sudden, there's no one to go to. You're always used to having a boss.
Yeah.
Hey,
and it's a weird world that nobody really understands, this weird world of ours, right? It's pretty unique.
Like there's a problem. All of a sudden you look around, you're like, there's no one to take this problem to. Like, it's mine.
Yeah.
And that was just something that spoke very loudly of that I wasn't in this alone at all.
Yeah.
I could talk to anyone about openly, so transparently about a process or how we maybe want to organize things in the studio and just ask, from things like, should we put the rental mats here or here? What feels more natural? What feels like the dirty mat bin? Let's do a walkthrough. Things
so
like
the client
that.
experience, the customer experience being,
Yeah. And it's something I didn't even have to ask for. The community just showed up and they were and they've been there. And I think that's been, a surprise in a way that I've never been alone. I've had so much support. And that
so
was,
what's the
amazing.
structure of the team that you took over compared to the structure of your team now? Is it the
Really?
same, or did you change? What is your team?
Yeah, so the structure of the teachers has remained quite the same. We've
Yeah.
scaled, so we've probably doubled the amount of classes. And therefore, the big change that we've made is the support team. So we've hired a number of studio coordinators and we have a yoga exchange program. And that has made such a difference in the teachers being able to really start class as a Zen,
Right.
talk to everyone, get to know them. And the support team, really, again, for my purposes of running the day to day, the operations, and making sure everything is
So what's
class
the job of a
ready.
studio coordinator?
The studio coordinator coordinates the client experience. So you're coming in, you're in a safe, clean, non-toxic, well environment. We are really big on being sustainable and
Yeah.
environmentally friendly. When you walk in, it's a place to be well. That's our slogan, be well.
I love
And
that.
the studio coordinator makes sure that everything is client ready and then checks in, sees if there's any questions, any customer service, helps with some marketing and event coordination, the registration, check-in, membership questions.
So what would you say to those studio owners that are trying to do it all and they're not sure if they can afford help on the front desk? Because that's a very common thing.
So common. It is so common. I mean, I still have that same those same thoughts. My biggest advice would be your goal, your purpose as a business owner is to grow, is to thrive. So you
Mm-hmm.
should be always thinking in the next level and in the next step. And where you are right now is not how you're staffing. It's not how you're planning. It's not how you're coordinating. You're thinking here. And so to be here, to be in the next revenue bucket, to be in the next class utilization or number of members, what is your next target? And what do you need to support that? Because if you don't have the support system, and that system could be tools, technology, AI, there's so much you can do with AI now
Yeah.
that you can do not only free, but at a very, a lower cost of entry. So thinking about how your support system, whether that's humans, technology, and processes, is going to support the next level, the next two levels.
Yeah. So I always say the investments in your business, whether it's your teacher team, the front desk or coordinator position, a business coach, marketing experts, all those things should have goals attached to them. That person on the front desk is not just a, hi, Kathy, have a good class.
Right.
Right. Can you talk a little bit about the goals?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, I can, because we just actually held one of our support workshops where we dig into our metrics and we look at goals, we create them together. And the goals that we look at is, again, starting with that customer experience. That's kind of, the starting point. But then we look at how do we continue to grow our membership. One of the things that we look at as far as metrics goes is that our goal is to have the number of auto pay, so recurring payments,
Yep.
at a minimum covering our monthly expenses. And we look at numbers with the support team around that.
Yeah.
And so it's not just, we need more members because we need more members, or it's not, we are, environmentally friendly so we can talk about it. There's a reason, there's a goal. And again, that goal is that you're walking into a place that you can truly detox and let go and feel safe. So we do tie each of our tasks, each of our processes to a goal. Again, whether it is quantitative, something that you can count, a dollar sign or a number,
Yeah.
or the qualitative, the purpose, the meaning, the feeling that you should have when you come to Summit Soul.
Yeah, I love that. It's
And
the number, the data, and the feels.
yes. And as far as goals, we have 6 core values, and it's a lot. I think I try to think of things in life with a minimal mindset, and 6 core values feels like a lot, but they're all extremely relevant. And so we try to tie our processes and our numbers and everything that we calculate back to those core values,
Right.
to see
Yeah.
how
That's
we're doing.
so important. I think just really knowing those, and that you may not be for everybody, but these are what we're meant for, right?
Yes.
Really knowing what the purpose of your business is, and that everything is tied towards that.
It's our North Star. And I can drop them for you so we can include them in the notes so people
that would be great.
kind of
Thank you
see a
so much.
reference of what those are.
Yeah. How did the programming evolve?
Oh, that's been so fun. So we do member surveys. We're very seasonal where we are with the mountains. The winter, we have big, long winters, very fun winters. And then the photo you saw of our outdoor yoga by the lake, beautiful, amazing summers. So our programming has evolved through listening to the people.
And
we
knowing
do a
your
survey,
audience.
knowing the audience, gathering information about what it is that you're feeling, what it is that you're exploring, what times of day is working for you right now. One of our biggest successes is our early morning challenge that Summit Soul implemented in our first year. And that has led to us being really one of the only studios in the surrounding area that offers classes before 7 a.m. And we offer them on a consistent basis, a daily basis, because we built it through this program of a morning yoga challenge that brings people together, creates healthy habits, tracks, but also, has a nice little coffee afterwards. And so making it a program that then continues into the classes that we offer. Also, different variety of, meeting different people in the community that can bring things like breath work, cold plunging, teaching people guided cold plunges, things that are, a little different. Our name is Summit Soul Yoga and Wellness. Yoga is our core. It's the foundation. It keeps us grounded. And then the wellness side is where we get to explore different modalities. And we start with different programs through events or series, and then we see if that's something that we can turn into a weekly offering. So it's a balance of schedule, the times people are coming, and the types, the different modalities. Then, business side of it, what is the return on investment? How much am I paying per class compared to how much is coming in? So how many classes is the right number of classes to have that it meets people's schedule, but that is also sustainable financially? Because we could probably have 3 times the amount of classes. I mean, we're paying rent for a 24/7 space, but there's operational.
Do you have a magic number for your classes that class covers everything? Like, do you have that number? And that you kind of judge. Well, how do you do it? Do you make changes to the schedule based on? I always gave it a period, like a quarter, to really see if it can make it work. But if things don't work, making adjustments. Can you talk about that a little?
Yeah. Yes. I think that's the fun part of it too.
I think a lot of studio owners dread that. I'm going to piss off 2 people that have been coming consistently.
Yeah. So then it's like, okay, asking them, you're coming consistently. What is it about this offering in this class that's working for you? And then think about, is that working for our community? The time of day. Is it something, I'll use our noon express classes as an example, because it's a new program that we've put into place that people love. I love them. I love a midday break. But yoga teacher training, never hold a class under 90 minutes. So 45 minutes. And understanding how to make it work for the people who work around us, Do those people know that they could come? We have multiple businesses around us that they can come, and, being very, very honoring people's time of, hey, this is the one class that we're going to keep the doors open for 5 minutes at the beginning. We're very strict about doors closed when class begins. We have one exception, noon, because you're coming in the middle of your day. And so just communicating those things and making little adjustments as we go to, really make it a sustainable class. And we have, our numbers. Again, I say we look at individual class numbers and metrics, but also the big picture. There might be fewer people that come to a 6 a.m. class, but there's people that have memberships because we offer a 6 a.m. class. So I can't say it's X number, we don't hold the class.
Do you think about repeatability in people's lives? Because you mentioned habits, right, before, like the morning or the lunchtime. So I was very much in my schedule. I made it so that people, if they like that 11 o'clock slow flow on a Tuesday, you better believe there was one on a Thursday so that they could get their Tuesday, Thursday weekend hit. And I feel like if you can, that works in people's lives. That's value to a membership. Do you think about that?
I do. And that's like the Tetris of it all, right?
Yeah.
Because
it is. It's a beautiful.
And they want to teach a class on a certain day and a certain time. And I might love the idea, but I have to look at the repeatable program overall to say, well, if it's a very heavy strength class, we have another really heavy strength class the day before. So we need a balance. We look at the whole week and we try to create different programs, whether you're morning, midday, evening, that you can come 3-4 times a week and you have a flow to it. Like you have these strength classes, these vinyasas or these sculpts, and then you have some recovery, you have some breath work, you have a meditation. And so we try to curate the programming that way. But it's like Tetris, trying to fit it
is.
all
when a studio owner, I mean, you had the luxury of coming in and there was probably a little bit of a rhythm to the studio already, right? When a new studio comes into a new community, it's sometimes like throwing it at the wall, seeing if it hits. But I feel like even what you're talking about here also is knowing your audience, because the biggest success in launches I've had is where we've had the luxury of a year to work with a client prior to opening, and really knowing the audience, really knowing what they needed, like tons of upfront research, tons and tons and tons, and then creating a schedule that was absolutely ideal for this audience. And we sold 220 pre-sold founding memberships before opening the doors, right? Because it was like literally we delivered up what this community needed. So I feel like when a lot of studio owners open, they create a schedule around the teacher's availability. And I always feel like that's the biggest no-no. Because, that 3 o'clock class in the afternoon may be nice for your teacher, but your audience is not around at that time. Can you talk about that a little bit?
Yeah. Oh, yes, exactly. And that, research that you're talking about, that's where I'm just going to go back to this. If target market, competitive analysis, if those are not things that you're comfortable with or used to, find someone, do some research. A ChatGPT coach.
ChatGPT, I do amazing demographic research for my clients just using that alone.
I invested in a business coach, and it's been the best investment for me as well, because it adds the human aspect.
Like some days you feel like shit, right? And it's
and there's
that
someone
person's there to support
me.
You, like that understands the vision and the journey and the process.
Especially as a founder, CEO, like I was saying earlier, when, sometimes those moments where you feel alone. So having that support system, but that research, that actually organizing it in ways too, of not just like hearing something and assuming it's true, research it, document it, track it, plug it into templates and tools that are out there for you. And you'll start to, I think that's another great piece of advice is so many people are going to come to you with great ideas, and they're truly amazing ideas. When you're really running a program, you're saying, this is what we are doing, this is our need, and here's a gap we need to fill. You're running the program rather than just intaking idea after idea. You're saying, here's what we're creating, here's what we need. And then we keep that creative opening in what we call Wellness Wednesdays. So we have opportunities when people have these ideas and they want to just try it out. You can come do that at Wellness Wednesday. We have different opportunities to be a little more playful, a little more fun, try a different time, try a different style. But that still actually has a very clear structure of everyone knows it's going to happen on Wellness Wednesdays.
Yeah. Do you have, because you mentioned before events and plunges and courses. I think of those as extra doorways in other than your intro offer.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Do you utilize that as a way in? Because I have my clients that are doing an 8-week beginner course because that is my jam. But that for me, my God, they're getting well over 60% retention from that, which is better than their intro offers because it creates community.
Absolutely.
And a safe place.
Big thing, another strategic partnership that we have is with our local town. So we partner with the town. We lead events with the town, and they have, an incredible market that they reach out to. I partner with their employees and lead yoga for the town employees. So thinking about your strategic partnerships, partnering with local businesses for marketing.
Huge.
Use someone local.
When you do a raffle draw or something for a challenge and you ask those partners for something, they step up, right? They're because you promote them.
Yes. And so then they go to those businesses and they're talking about you, our local coffee shop, being around
100%.
and being involved. And so you're creating true, meaningful relationships and partnerships.
True.
And that just grows your funnel of people saying that they want to go try something. I give partnership cards. So people who work at the local businesses, come try a class for free. We don't have a free intro offer.
To be clear.
I recommend against that. Yes. But pull in people who are working around you so they can come experience what the studio is and can talk about it at their businesses and their jobs. And they actually know because they've been there.
Yeah. Can you talk about now about the marketing side of things? Because when I had my studio, you learn very quickly, you always have to keep feeding the studio with new people. That can't not be happening, right? So you just always have, because there is a thing called churn. We need to lessen the churn. So can you talk about that a little bit? How, because you do the community things, that's a doorway in. How do you invest in getting new leads?
Absolutely. So again, there's tools, software, processes.
Yeah.
So we have a CRM, a customer relationship management system. We use LoopSpark.
Yep,
and
great.
From a technology perspective,
and that works with FitDegree.
It works with FitDegree. We love both of them. Very, very happy with both of those technology tools. And what those do through both software systems, you create things that market almost automatically while you're asleep, almost.
Based on data. Not gut feeling.
Exactly. But what that doesn't do is that doesn't get you a brand new lead because you have to have someone in the system already to market to them, right? So going out into the community and getting brand new leads are, again, we have a strategic pillar and process of times of the year when we put out flyers. So seasonally, we hold outdoor yoga in the summer. We're a big ski and snowboard town, so we hold après or post-ski yoga in the winter. we market at places where people are looking for recovery. We market at places in the summer where people are looking to do something healthy outdoors.
So you're talking about retreat centers, chiropractors,
Local.
physiotherapists, massage therapists, those.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
We have resorts near Breckenridge and Keystone. So
Yeah.
there's a lot of resorts going on, a lot of resort activities. We're marketing there. We're going out to events ourselves and getting new leads, QR codes to say, hey, learn more
So
here.
it's get in
Let us
front
get
of
your
new
email.
eyeballs, however you can,
Mhm.
right?
Yeah, yeah. And get in front of new eyeballs and just get one piece of information so you can get them into your tools and your processes. And then you create the repeatable workflows from there, first entry point, next entry point, follow up, getting them there. Hey, I haven't seen you in
Yeah.
30 days. And once you have the information, that's where you get repeatable automations. But you're really getting out there. And again, as a business owner, I hope everyone hears that doesn't mean that you, as an individual person, are doing all of this by yourself.
Yeah.
It is amazing if you ask people around, if you print out 100 flyers, how many people are going to be willing to go spread them around?
Because they're
They're
super
so
fans.
happy to help.
They're
Your
super,
members will do
yeah,
this.
100%.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And so
I would
if you
say
have
go
100
make
members,
go make friends with the front desk person at the local business buildings and get in
yeah.
get into their lunchrooms on the board, uh, stuff like that,
Mhm.
right? Like I call it scrappy marketing. You've got to, I feel like marketing has changed. Marketing's my background, and
Okay.
I love marketing, but I do feel that things have changed and that yoga studio owners are hiding a lot behind their Canva posts. And I love all those things have to be done, and they're rinse and repeatable if you're smart enough to be ahead of the game. Um, but I also feel like now there has to be personality and camera time
Hmm.
compared to how it used to be. It's people are looking for that authenticity, that behind the scenes. Does that resonate with you guys?
It does. And I think of social media in a similar way as a technology tool. You're reaching the people that follow you and maybe like-minded people that maybe gets you a little bit out of the algorithm. But we don't currently have a true online platform. So our social media has a purpose, but that purpose isn't really getting a really big expansion of new leads that are, in our community and around, because it's really just a Canva post or an image or a video to the people who already follow us.
Mhm.
So we don't really look at our social media platform as a very large marketing tactic. It's an informational tool.
Yeah,
People know what's going on. They know the events that are happening. They know who's teaching. They know a little bit more about us. They know, and we build a trusted brand there. But it's not a tool where we're getting all of our new leads come in. And that is something that's very much outside of the technology, outside of the tools, and very much a
yeah,
strategic plan of partnerships,
yeah.
awareness.
Yeah, I mentioned this before on the podcast, but I had a community corner. So, because once a month I walked around my community with my dog, into the health food store. Hey, Joanne, got some latest brochures? Got anything for me? And so I would take their stuff and we would have their cards in this corner because,
Mhm.
you're talking about therapy and recovery. How many people in a yoga studio go, oh, my back, my leg, my this, my that? And you can
Yes.
genuinely say, "Oh, Dr. Dave's next door. He'll hook you up."
Hmm.
So I think that was a big thing for me was having that two-way street with the partners.
Absolutely. And then, that your background being in marketing, that's what excites me now also about branding, making sure that
Yeah,
what you're putting out, while you can create some really, really neat things in tools like Canva, but making sure that they're not so different so that people would see certain colors. For us, it's our
yeah,
sun with the mountains, that you're starting to see that everywhere you go.
yep,
And then it starts to become associated with something you've heard of, a place that's provided healing, a place that's provided
Yeah.
calm. And these things start to be associated together. And that
Exactly.
power
Because you
of a
have 3
brand.
seconds to get their attention basically on
3
social
seconds.
media. Yeah. Well, it's the flick of a finger. Right? I mean, that's what you're up against, is that, right? So you got 3
Yeah.
seconds to get the attention of people. But I agree with you what you're saying on that, because in that 3 seconds, you know that that's your studio if you're following, right away.
Mhm.
In Vancouver, where I live in British Columbia, there's one of my clients, Stretch Yoga. Everything is beautiful black and white visuals. And it's very branded, and they have one particular font that is theirs. But again, you're just flicking through, you know that's them without even a word coming out of anybody's mouth.
Yes. Yes. I love that. Great job.
Yeah. 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 So what's next for Ali and your studio? What's the next steps for you?
So our vision in the next 1 to 3 years is to really continue expanding on the wellness aspect. Again, like I said, we live in a very active, outdoorsy community.
Yeah. Yeah.
So our studio really focuses on complete wellness, recovery, longevity. And so expanding our wellness offerings is really what's next for us, and just continuing to provide different modalities for folks to have overall well-being. And then I also, kind of what's next as well too, is looking at how we can expand even beyond the community that we're in. So through maybe online platforms and other ways. So expanding our footprint and building upon the great foundation that we have.
What do you think the tips you would give somebody taking on studio? It's a brave venture, right? Stepping into either opening a studio or buying a studio. And what kind of tips would you give people? Because you come from that business mindset. You watch numbers, you have certain KPIs, key performance indicators, and goals. And you react to those. So I'm kind of curious, from that business perspective, what do you think you could help studio owners?
I'm going to start with the tip that was given to me. Find your template, whether it's asking for someone or finding it or having one, and then start creating, start writing something that feels natural, something that feels right. If you have any blockages that you have, just take a moment to put it on paper, to start organizing it, to make your plan, see it on paper, write the description, write a budget, write a financial model. And if you don't know where to start with some online tools, some free chat tools, and then move into my biggest piece of advice is a business coach, a coaching group. They're a partner along the way, and it will be an investment. And the whole purpose of that is that you're going to figure out really fast. I mean,
it's a fast track a little bit, like it's, and having somebody just to bounce off of, what about this? What do you think? And somebody to say, no, that's a really bad idea. I've seen that flop.
And here's just the tools and templates. And I'm really lucky to say that, but because I had a really great coach and because I had a really great plan, I was able to pay back any and all of my investments and be profitable in year 1.
Wow.
And that's hard for a brand new yoga studio to do. And so if that's something that scares people of how long, it's absolutely possible. So you can put in an investment and you can be revenue generating and profitable in your very first year. It is absolutely possible. And it starts with a solid plan, and it starts with great support.
Yeah. Awesome. What's something people don't know about you?
I am a world traveler. I've been to over 70 countries. And the part that most people might find surprising is I have a goal to visit. There's 7 Stan countries that end in Stan. And I'm only 1 away. And so I have one more Stan country to visit, and that is my last one to visit, Afghanistan.
Wonderful. What's your favorite business tool?
Okay, and I'm not just saying this because our friends at Fit Degree connected us, but I absolutely love Fit Degree. It is our scheduling and registration and payment platform. And it is so easy, but it's not just easy for me. I don't have to spend so much time training folks,
Yeah,
a checklist,
yeah,
a document, and about a 30-minute session that I don't even lead them anymore. I have coordinators who lead
yeah,
the onboarding of our software systems because it's just so intuitive and their support is so. I also work in software in some of
yeah,
my other endeavors. So when I see a good software, not only platform, but a good support system,
yeah.
that's what
Yeah,
I'm looking for.
and Nick, the owner, is a great guy, and he's in there, really cares.
Yeah, exactly. I meet with him. I talk to him around things. You're talking to the people who, run and understand you. And to me, that's all what all of this is about is that community.
Yeah,
So that has been my favorite software system and tool that I've used so far in my
yeah,
business.
and I'll give a shout out to John at Loop Spark too, because the integration of the marketing, the SMS and the email based on data from your software platform
They
is
integrate, they talk to each other.
they talk to each other. Yeah, and it's a dream, right? Somebody purchased something and then they don't come in 2 days or whatever, and you have something to nudge them. Just a quick side note though, there is automations, but then there's the humanness too.
Yes.
We didn't really, but so do you use the software to trigger things like tasks? So, for example, to trigger that somebody makes a phone call or a personal SMS as opposed to an automation, but it's again, but that's part of the process for you.
We do. We use the to-do tasks for things like when someone's a new member, they get a exclusive member sticker. So it triggers a task. So whoever's working can say, hey, it's Allie's second class as a member. Make sure she gets we call them soulmates. Summit Soul, our soulmates, our members. Make sure they get their soulmate sticker. Or even though we have milestone emails that go out, we also have a task so that in the studio, we know when it's Michael's 100th class. So we can talk about it. We can take a picture of you for our wall. And so even though you'll get the email instantaneously automated, we wouldn't know that if it was just the automation in the background. So we also have these tasks and to-dos so that we can talk to people in the studio about things. Sometimes too, we'll just put a task in there of like something that we think is cool. Like one of our clients got their first Balasana, their first crow pose. Like I want everyone to know. I can do that in Fit Degree. I can do that in Loop Spark, and I can kind of make it, visible to everyone to say like, hey, make sure you tell them, we're really
that's
proud
super
of their
great way
Balasana.
to that human connection part. Yeah, love it.
Yeah, it's really fun. It's really neat.
Personal, what do you waste your time on? Personal app or website?
I spend probably like my doom scrolling or whatnot. There's two. Pinterest. I feel like it's just a little more creative, and it doesn't really have so much, for me at least, of like it just feels very down to earth, very creative. I can kind of explore, but I don't need to show anyone anything.
Yeah.
And then this is old school of me. There's a Microsoft OneNote is where I actually organize all of my life. It's very old school. I'm not recommending this. But it's just like a notes tab where I just write notes. I organize my priorities. I have lists for everything. I mean,
do you use project management software?
I do. Yep. I use a Microsoft tool called Loop.
Okay.
Because it's just embedded in the Microsoft suite. We're transitioning more into the Google suite, but I love Microsoft because I use it across all my businesses. So
with my studio owners that don't have any project manager, I make a Trello board for them, a very simple system, but a Trello board that we can meet to the tasks.
Yes. That's one of the, when
Yeah.
everything feels, especially as a business owner,
One place.
when everything feels like it's so much, and how in the world are you going to tackle it? And you hear, us talking about processes and tools, but many times you feel like, I don't even know where to start. And there's too much.
Yeah.
That's when you become a project manager. That's when you start to create work streams. That's when you start to create tasks. And then that's where you start to delegate owners. Everything in this business is actually able to be done in a rinse and repeat model.
Yeah.
And so when it feels so crazy, it is. There is so much. People don't all really know everything that goes into not only running a business, but owning a wellness business. These are people's lives. This is their health, their happiness, their well-being. This isn't just a service for fun. This is real important work.
Yeah. But you have tools to support that.
There are tools.
Yeah.
There are processes. There's ways of organizing it. A Trello board.
Yeah.
Monday,
I find one place to
Asana.
go to, like, because if I don't mind. So I have a business coach, and she taught me to not write anything down. So I have no pen, no paper on my desk. I probably for 2 years now. So she always said, if it's in your head, it's on your board.
Yes.
And so I have a column that is an idea dump. Right. And so, but I feel like, my calendar and my project board are basically my go-tos. And I feel like if people simplified things so that they're not trying to do so many things, but it's kind of one go-to place, helps.
Yeah. And, here's just a great testament. I have a team, I have support. I can put things down on the idea board. Someone will read it, and I might not even know they have experience, and they just grab it. They say, ooh, I want that one. So I can generate an idea that I think might not ever get traction, and like, oh, I probably won't think about that again for 6 months. Someone on my team can just grab it because I put it in a system.
Super cool.
And then they'll surprise me and be like, did you know that I do this in my other job, or that I used to do this in a previous endeavor?
How great. Yeah.
So that idea board can turn into traction, but if you never share it, you won't ever know.
Yeah, that's true. Sometimes they sit on the idea board for a while.
Yeah. And that's okay too.
If you were a yoga pose, what would it be and why?
Swaying palm tree pose, swaying Tadasana. I love the beach. I love the sunshine, the soul. And there's something about, arms up overhead and just being able to sway it out and then bringing it into the hips. I feel its whole body, but just
stabilizing
calm,
and
peaceful. And you can just like take yourself visually to your happy place. So swaying
lovely.
Tadasana, palm tree pose.
Ali, thank you so much for sharing. I feel like we could talk for another hour. Thank you for your time. I know we went over.
Thank you so much. This has been a joy, and thanks for everything you do and the advice you bring to this community.
Thank you so much. And I just love your perspective. And I think a lot of people are going to get a lot out of today's episode. So thank you so much for sharing, and thanks for being here today. Where do people find you?
Summit Soul Wellness.com, at Summit Soul Wellness, Summit Soul, SOL, Wellness.
And on Instagram on the same name?
Yeah.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Ali.
Thank you. Have a good day.
You too. Bye.
Bye-bye.
Thanks for tuning in, champs. If you've enjoyed today's episode, please subscribe to this channel. It means a lot. And if you're ready to open your own studio or grow your current one, visit yogabizchamp.link/YouTube to book your free strategy call with myself and explore my starter studio and grower studio packages. And you'll also get access to all of my free Yoga Biz Champ resources, yogabizchamp.link/YouTube. And you can check out other insights and follow me on all social media platforms at Yoga Biz Champ. See you next time.